Hello, good day everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Ian Shone. I'm moderating today's webinar on China's evolving seafood market for salmon, presented by Iris Wang, Director of Market Development in China for the Best Aquaculture Practices Certification Program. We are recording, I've got record on, yeah, we are recording today's webinar for those who are unable to join and wish to catch up at another time. We're just going to wait for a few more people to join before we will begin. And after the presentation, we will invite Iris to stay on for questions. We're also going to be joined by Dan Lee, Technical Advisor for the BAP program. So yeah, feel free to post questions in the chat as we go along, and we will do our best to cover as many as we can. So starting very shortly.
Hi, good morning. So I'm Iris. I'm from Global Safe Alliance. Today I'm gonna share you some interesting findings about the Chinese market that we found there was a market survey. As you know, with the economic growing, China has become an important seafood consumer, and salmon is definitely a start product benefiting from this trend. I believe China has imported over 160,000 tons salmon in 2025, including over 90,000 tons from Norway. However, you will find that it's not easy to find detailed data on seafood consumption in mainland China. So, can the growth of salmon continue? Which factors will affect the purchasing decision of Chinese consumer? Is it true that sustainability isn't important to Chinese market? So different from other certification program who decide not to invest in China, BP has continually started the market with the consumer survey in the past 4 years. We've collected over 12,000 questions, including over 3,000 questions from last year's survey. Just as you can see on the map, the number is the number of questions we collected in different areas, different provinces, which allows us to analyze the differences on seafood consumption habits between inland area and the coastal area. And yes, in the survey we did add a few questions about people's opinion on BP. But as a cooperation project with the experts from Shanghai Ocean University, and they actually, publish a paper based on the data collected during the survey, we can guarantee you that the data is unbiased. So let's start. We do believe that China's market still has huge potential. So because we see a gap between what people want and what they actually eat. So on the left, in 2024, we asked if the percentage that respondents prefer seafood as protein source. And that's about the willingness. And then in 2025, we asked what percentage of their animal protein actually comes from seafood. You can see that people only consumed half of what they want. And the result also shows the impact by the income on actual seafood consumption proportion is mainly reflected in inland area. So this might due to diet habits, the relatively lower price, or even the either excess of the seafood in coastal areas. So that means ideally, if we could meet all consumers' expectation, seafood consumption still has potential to double in China. So what do Chinese people expect from seafood, or what's holding them back from eating more? Price, definitely. Even the common species like shrimp currently is twice as expensive as pork in China. And what we saw in the past year is the lower salmon price that allow people in third and fourth tier cities to start to eat salmon. And the number show on the word cloud means how many times the concerns are mentioned. We even got a few answers for standard and certification, which is quite interesting for me. However, the most frequently word mentioned, you can see here, is the freshness. And that actually matches responses to another question. Which product forms are most preferred? The top three are live seafood, fresh, and food service. No processed frozen seafood made the top three. And you can see from the upper right line chat, like more older generations prefer live seafood. We have 81% respondents over 50 years old said they prefer live seafood, while they are less likely to consume outside. So the deep preference to freshness can explain maybe why fresh salmon enjoys such a rocket speed growth in China, while frozen salmon is not. And then let's quickly look at the species. Salmon currently isn't China's top 10 daily consumed seafood species, according to our survey. But among the most wanted species, it ranks number 5, which is actually why I'm personally positive about the species' future here. You can see the lobster and the king crab, they are not that kind, they are kind of expensive and not for like daily foods. But salmon with its more reasonable price has huge potential and is actually one of my favorite species too. And the surprise from our survey is that what Chinese consumers pay attention to when buying seafood. So the colorful chart on the left is the result of last year's survey. We asked the respondents to grade how important each factor is for them, like from 5 the most important to 1 that I don't care. And on the right is the survey result of 2024, and actually the result of 2023 is very similar to that. But over the past 3 years, you can see the environmental sustainability consistently ranked higher than the traceability. So we wondered, if respondents misunderstood the question. So in 2025, we added a very clear note to explain that sustainability means whether seafood production harms the environment. And you can see on the left, attention to that topic remains high. I don't think many producers currently promote their like environmental practice when marketing the product in China. But I think this survey definitely suggests this could be an overlooked opportunity. And that's why I bring this issue to our Europe team. BP against increasing attention in China's market. When data can prove that is the red line on the graphic, you can see the percentage of Chinese producers driven by the domestic market instead of exporting has increased from almost 0 to over 20%. And the stacked column in blue also shows the total number of BP certificates in China mainland keeps growing despite all the negative factors. And we've already had 6 new salmon reprocessors certified this year, and more are coming. But the issue is, those reprocessors are very supportive. I can actually show you some videos by the reprocessors.
上海合成食品，我们支持 BAT 认证水产。
我是苏必先国际贸易北京有限公司，我支持 BAT 水产品认证。
我们是上海贝特食品有限公司，我们支持 BAT 认证水产品。
大家好，我们是上海海天下食品股份有限公司，我是公司负责人阿莲，我们支持 BAT 认证的水产品。
大家好，我们是北洋佳美水产有限公司，我们支持 BAT 认证的水产品。
大家好，我们是大连海清水产有限公司，秉承社会责任担当， 恪守环境友好准则，严守食品安全底线。我们支持 BAP 认证的水产品。
大家好，我是陆凤食品325，我们支持 BAP 的水产。
Without the farms in country of origin getting beef certified, none of the reprocessor in the video is able to market the sustainability of the salmon products on the certification side. So, and if you look at the BP standard setting, you may notice that BP covers one of the most important things for fresh salmon, which is food safety. So food safety does not only rank the second after the freshness, but is also very important, especially for fresh salmon, as it needs a higher sanitary standard. So you can imagine that a happy consumer who buys very good quality fresh salmon, but gets diarrhea because of the microbial contamination at the reprocessing plants, which I think will be too bad. So beside that, the retailers want the reprocessor to get BP. The reason why the salmon reprocessors is willing to accept BP is because BP's processing standard is the few GFSI benchmarked standard that allows producer to add logo on package. So different from our English slogan, which is "Keep fishing our future," the current Chinese slogan attached with BP logo in China is International Certification for Seafood with Assurance. So shown by the survey that over 90% respondents in all, even the consumer who never saw BP or knew about BP before, will have positive impression for the products with BP logo on package. But of course, if in future, if Chinese reprocessor can get certified raw materials from Norway, we'd like to explore more possibility to highlight the stories of sustainability as well. And actually, we've already started a consumer-facing podcast in Chinese, in which we start to mention agriculture's environmental impact and how the industry works to reduce it. In the consumer survey of this year, we will further explore, what messages resonated most with Chinese consumers. So I have one guess, due to the culture differences, the Chinese consumer might not connect with the word sustainability. But actually, they may care about topics like human measures of predator exclusion or reducing impact on ocean life. So we plan to start this year's survey this month with the report ready by August. So please stay tuned. We won't have time to go through the full report today. So if you want the report or have any suggestions for our future survey, please feel free to email me or contact our European team. We look forward to potential cooperation with you in China in future. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to bring up Iris's final slide that gives contact details. Let me just, yeah, there we go. Please feel free to contact any of these people here if you have any follow-up. If the person you contact is not the right person, we will do our level best to get you to the right member of staff. And at this point, Iris, Dan, I invite you to turn on your cameras. Turn on your microphones. Dan, I can see you. Thank you for joining.
Morning, Ian. Morning, everybody.
Iris, I invite you to do the same. Thank you for the presentation, Iris. And we'll just wait for Iris. There she is. Good afternoon, good evening, Iris.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some questions. Iris, we've had a lot of interest in the survey, which you've been running for 4 years now with Shanghai University. You mentioned in your presentation plans for the next survey. Are the questions going to be the same, and what are the plans to promote and share it?
Yeah, so this year's survey we will focus more on what content the Chinese consumers they are more like sensitive with, like whether they care about the birds, whether the birds in the farm is protected, whether they care about the raft in the ocean. So we want to dig into the what Chinese consumer actually cares about. So just like I said, maybe the sustainability, the word doesn't mean a lot for Chinese people, but we actually care about specific things. So we try to have the survey to figure out that question.
Okay, great. Now we have a question on food safety, and it's quite well known that food safety is an important topic with consumers in China. I think it's also well known that freshness is really important. But you mentioned growing interest in environmental sustainability in China. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a trend, especially within among the young generation. Like in school, they were told by the teacher that they need to save water to protect the earth. Like when we are currently travel, maybe the hotel will say that if you don't, if you will stay at the hotel for 2 nights, maybe you can choose not to change your back state just to save the water and save all the energies. And if we take flight currently in China, there might be an option that's saying if you don't eat the meal, please tell us before you get on board, so we know that we want to need to prepare for your meal, so which avoid the food waste. So I think all kinds things makes people they have increased attention and the care more about the sustainability things, but we just need to figure out what's it is about the seafood.
Yeah. Now BAP works across the whole supply chain. Which stage, Iris, do you think the Chinese consumer is most interested in?
I will say if there's 4-star from the feed mill, hatchery, farm, and plant, it will be awesome. But currently, I think in China, the most important two types of facilities are the farm and the processing plant. Because in China, we always say that from the farm to your table, so which covers the farm and the processing plant.
Great, thank you. Dan, we have a question in which I think is probably a good one for you, and I'll publish this in a minute. Let me just read it out. You probably can see it as well. Is there a focus within the BAP program that differentiates between land-based raised salmon and ocean cage raised salmon? And there's particular emphasis on food safety here.
It's a good question, and our salmon standard is targeting specifically cage-reared salmon in marine cages. So that is quite it's a big area of production. That's most of the salmon that we know. And then if you were going to certify a land-based operation, you would actually use our regular farm standard. So we do have a focus on both systems, and interestingly, those would be handled by different standards. The cage farming and marine sites are where the majority of the salmon comes from, hence it merits its own specific salmon farm standard on that basis, if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was a question from Mr. Lan, I think. And let me see if I can publish this question. It's a good one for you, Iris, around is there awareness between differences between Atlantic salmon and coho at the consumer level? Let me see if I can. No, I'm not getting the questions.
Yeah,
yeah, if you could address that, please, Iris.
Yeah, so Atlantic salmon is definitely better known by Chinese people because we love the fresh salmon, and most of the fresh salmon are Atlantic salmon. But the coho salmon, I know that there are some Chilean producers who are like making progress with that species. Just like in this week, we have Shanghai Haiqin and Aqua Chili who hold some kind of marketing campaign in Hema, a local supermarket, to promote the processed coho salmon. But I think most coho salmon currently in China, they are frozen. So they like Atlantic salmon and coho salmon belong to different consumption like situations and things like that.
And I managed to get the questions to display now, so there we go. So thank you for that one. Iris, you had a number of buyers contribute to the presentation. What specifically are the reprocessors doing with the salmon they are buying, with the salmon they are importing? And how do you think typically consumers are preparing the fish?
So I think most popular popular product in China currently is still the fresh salmon. Just like I said, Chinese people like the freshness of seafood. So normally currently for fresh salmon, the reprocessor will buy maybe the whole fish and cut into, to 100 gram or 200 gram like a fish meat package, just for people to bring back home and open the package, just to eat it, which is simple for the consumer to consume the species. But also we have some processing plant who process the frozen salmon, but for that, I think maybe we have more like a family consumer on that type of product, because they will bring back to home and cook for their children for the healthy reason. And also we have some like a salmon salad made by the frozen salmon. So I think they are kind of belong to different consumers consumption situation.
Great, good answer. Thank you for explaining. Not an easy one, that. So I'm just looking to see if there's any more questions, and I'm not seeing any. Oh, maybe there's one just come in.
Could I just expand a little on
please
my
go
earlier
ahead.
answer?
Yeah.
The previous question was asking about the food safety aspect, differences between cage operations and land-based operations. So I didn't really talk about the food safety, but those requirements would be very comparable across those different standards. And with BAP products all directed through a BAP certified processing plant, then you do have the assurances of a GFSI recognized processing plant standard. So I think rest assured that regardless of the origins of those salmon, they're coming through with all the assurances you need around food safety.
And I think, Dan, maybe you could just continue. There's a question here about the BAP star system. Could you explain how the BAP star system works? And then maybe, Iris, you could talk about recognition of the BAP logo and if there's a difference between star recognition. But Dan, please, first, if you could just explain the star system.
Yes, indeed. So the BAP program is designed to work along the supply chain and to cover off assurances in the different areas of production. So we cover the hatchery, we cover the feed mill, we cover the processing plant, and of course the farm. And as these different areas are certified, then you can build up stars. So if you are sourcing from certified feed mills, certified hatcheries, certified farms, and of course a certified processing plant, you will have a 4-star product. But this process grows on compounds such that you can also source 2-star product, which would be the processing plant and farm certified. So some buyers specify minimum 2 stars, some specify minimum 4 stars, and our program is set up to give this this range of options regarding how much and how deep you want to go into the supply chains.
Thank you, Dan. And Iris, could you just touch on logo recognition and the importance of the star system, if applicable, in China?
Yeah, I just want to start with that. We have two types of endorser in China. One is the international buyer, like Walmart China, Metro, maybe Audi and Disney. So for those like international companies, they will have the sourcing policies. So they'd like to have the highest star level they can get. But for other part, for the Chinese endorsers like Hema, JD.com, or any other like Chinese retailer food service like company you can heard about, I just want to say that there's none of them has the sourcing policy. So you won't say like there's formal document that they want to like 2-star or 4-star at that point. But the reality is, if you get like a 4-star, it's definitely higher than 2-star. So it can like differentiate you in the market. So I think that's the benefit of like a higher star level in Chinese market.
Thank you, Iris. Thank you. Again, I'm struggling to publish the questions, but there's a question here for you, Dan, as to how the BAP program handles species, specifically king salmon versus Atlantic salmon. Does the program handle them in a different way?
If it's a salmonid reared in a cage in the sea, it would be certified to our salmon farm standard. If it's a salmonid reared in a land system or in a pond, then it would go through the regular farm standard. So our standards are designed to cover off all the assurances around social implications, social assurances, food safety, environmental impacts, traceability, and animal welfare, and it will apply equally regardless of the species in question. So the marketing is going to be targeted. That's specific to the producer and the buyer and the seller around whether it's king salmon or Atlantic salmon, but the standards are to some extent not concerned at that species level. We cover off those issues. We are not specifically concerned about differentiating one species of salmon versus another.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dan. We can expand on that more if required, if you want to contact us directly. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. Yes, there's one here for Iris. What support exists in China for BAP certified salmon producers around the world?
So actually, we tried many different things in Chinese markets. Like we had the social media campaign with the producer. We have some like child-facing campaign, like child-facing like educational course at stores. The one we had before is for the turbot. And we also have the Chinese podcast, like I said. So actually, we are very like flexible with the like the form of like marketing campaign in China. As long as you're interested to work with us in China, we can like have a further conversation to figure out what works best for you and for us.
Brilliant. Thank you, Iris. All right. Well, I think what I'll do is just pull up this slide again for our contact details and just pause if there's any more questions coming in. I apologize for not being able to publish all the questions. I didn't manage to do that for some reason, but Let me thank Iris for the presentation and for taking the questions. Dan, thank you for taking the time. Thank you to our audience for joining and for the questions. If I don't see any more coming in, I'll just pause a little longer. But if not, I will close by saying, hope you found this webinar useful and informative. Please do get in touch. As I mentioned at the outset, this is recorded and we will make it available online shortly if you have any colleagues who wish to catch up at another time. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye for now.
Thank you. Goodbye.